Hey everyone! So you're gearing up for your Class 12 Computer Science Board exam, right? The difference between a really good score and a great one, it often comes down to the little things. Today, we're going to focus on one of the easiest ways to lock in those marks, abbreviations. Let's do this. So are you chasing that perfect 70 out of 70? Of course you are. Well, the road to a perfect score is all about nailing those small but super important details. And today, we're going to make sure you've got one of the biggest ones covered. I want you to think of abbreviations on your CS paper as one-mark certainties. Seriously, they pop up year after year, without fail. Mastering them can literally be the difference between a 69 and that perfect 70. So let's make sure not a single one of these slips through your fingers. Okay, here's our game plan for today. We'll kick things off with the big one, computer networks. Then we'll jump into database and SQL, cover a few key bridge topics from Class 11 that you have to know, and wrap it all up with how to totally ace the exam. All right, let's dive right in with Unit 2, Computer Networks. Now, this unit is absolutely packed with abbreviations. I mean, it's the mother lode. So you're going to want to pay close attention here. And first up, we've got FTP. This one is a certified board favorite, you guys. It popped up as recently as the 2023 paper. It's a classic, so you've got to know this one inside and out. So FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol, and its job is actually pretty simple but super powerful. It's basically the rulebook that computers follow to send files to each other over a network, like the internet. You can just think of it as the digital post office for your files. Next, we have the duo that pretty much runs the entire web, HTTP and HTTPS. HTTP, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is the fundamental way websites talk to each other. But the most important thing for you to remember is that S in HTTPS. It stands for secure, and that little letter means any data you send, passwords, credit card info, whatever, is encrypted and safe. It's a big deal. Now let's talk about the backbone of the entire internet, TCP/IP. It's actually two protocols working together as a team. So you've got TCP, the Transmission Control Protocol, which chops your data up into little packets. Then IP, the Internet Protocol, acts like a GPS, making sure every single one of those packets gets to the right digital address. And while we're here, there's also PPP, or Point-to-Point Protocol. It's a much simpler way to make a direct connection between just two devices, kind of like how old-school dial-up internet used to work. Ever wonder how your email actually works? Well, it's all thanks to these two. You've got SMTP, the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Think of it as your digital mailman. Its only job is to send your email out. But to get mail from the server, your computer uses POP3, the Post Office Protocol. It's that simple, right? One sends, one receives. Got it. Okay, here's another one that the exam setters just seem to love. WWW. This has been asked over and over again in past papers, sometimes as a direct fill-in-the-blank. I'm telling you, this is as close to a guaranteed mark as you can possibly get. So, WWW stands for World Wide Web, and here's a crucial distinction. It's not the same thing as the internet. The web is the system of websites and pages that live on the internet. So how do you find a specific page? Well, you use a URL, the Uniform Resource Locator. It's the unique address for every single resource on the web. And wrapping up this section, we've got HTML and XML. Here's an easy way to think about it. HTML, or Hypertext Markup Language, is like the architect. It tells your browser how to display a web page, where the text goes, the color, the layout. Then you have XML, Extensible Markup Language, which is more like the delivery truck. Its job is just to store and transport the data itself in a way that any system can understand. All right, quick pop quiz time. Let's see if you've been paying attention. What does TCP stand for? I'll give you a few seconds. And the answer is Transmission Control Protocol. The name itself gives you a huge clue, right? It controls the transmission of data to make sure it gets there reliably and without any errors. Awesome job if you got that one. Okay, we've totally crushed networks. Now let's switch gears and talk about how we manage all that data. It's time for Unit 3, Database and SQL. Now, there are fewer abbreviations in this section, but trust me, every single one is absolutely fundamental. First up, the big one, CQL. It stands for Structured Query Language. This is basically the universal language you use to talk to a database, whether you're asking it questions, telling it to store new info, or updating records that are already there. Now, SQL is actually split into two main sublanguages. First, you have DDL, Data Definition Language. Think of this as the architect's blueprint. You use commands like create to build the actual structure of the database. Then you have DML, Data Manipulation Language. This is for everything that goes inside that structure. Use commands like insert or update to, well, manipulate the data itself.
Okay, time for another quick test. Based on what we just covered, which language type, DDL or DML, includes the insert command? Take a second.
The correct answer is DML, Data Manipulation Language. Why? Because you're manipulating the data, not defining the structure. If you got that, you are in fantastic shape for this topic. Okay, time for a little pro tip. We're moving into what I call the Class 11 bridge. These are topics that are technically from last year's syllabus, but they have a sneaky habit of showing up on the Class 12 board exam. You do not want to get caught off guard by these.
All right, let's talk about character encoding. It all started with ASCII, the American Standard Code for Information Interchange. It was perfect for English, but its 7-bit system was way too small for other languages. So for India, the solution was ISCII, an 8-bit code that could handle various Indian scripts right alongside the original English characters. And that whole evolution leads us right to the modern standard, UTF, or Unicode Transformation Format. Just think of this as the ultimate universal translator for computers. It's designed to represent pretty much every character from every language in the world. That's why you can type in English, Hindi, and maybe Japanese all in the same document. It's the global standard that basically contains all the others.
And there you have it. We've just decoded the heavy hitters from networking, we've nailed the fundamentals of SQL, and we've crossed that tricky bridge from Class 11. You seriously now have everything you need to walk into that exam and confidently claim these crucial marks.
Just remember, these aren't just random letters, right? They are the language of computer science. But more importantly for you, they are guaranteed marks on your exam. So the only question left is, are you ready to go get them? Good luck!